Carla, and I want to start living a life that feels like my own. I think I have been inspired through the years by many different people and books, and I've tinkered a little bit, but I've never fully lived the life I dreamed of. I think it's just time. And so I'm starting this journey by documenting it here on YouTube. I hope you'll join me. I want to learn old-time skills of how to, be more self-sufficient. I want to start with this poem that I think very moved me and kind of stayed with me through the years. It's called Life by Terrell Reed. They told me life could be just what I made it. Life could be fashioned and worn like a gown. I, the designer, mind the decision whether to wear it with bonnet or crown. And so I selected the prettiest pattern. Life should be made of the rosiest hue, something unique and a bit out of fashion, one that perhaps would be chosen by few. But other folks came and they leaned over my shoulder. Somebody questioned the ultimate cost. Somebody tangled the thread I was using. One day I found that my scissors were lost, and somebody claimed the materials faded. Somebody else said, I'd be tired or 'twas worn. Somebody's fingers, too pointed and spiteful, snatched at the cloth, and I saw it was torn. Oh, somebody tried to do all the sewing, wanting always to advise or condone. Here is my life, the product of many. Where is that gown I could fashion alone? So, yeah, that stayed with me, and I've always known you have to be careful because other people, if you don't know what you want, you'll end up living somebody else's life. And it's really hard because the people that you care about the most give their opinions, and you try to listen to their advice, right? And anyway, I think it hits home, and it's like, it's time to start living the life you've always wanted. Another book, well, I'm going to put my glasses on with that. Another book is Walden. Whenever I took a philosophy class when I was in college, this is one of the books that stayed with me too. He says in here, I went to the woods to live deliberately. Okay. And I don't know that I'm living that way. I don't know that I've been living that way, and I want to live that way. So it's time. It's time. Okay, so this one was inspirational as to like why I want to do what I want to do. I want to live deliberately. The next book is the the Encyclopedia of Country Living by Carla, Emery. And I bought this book many, many years ago. This is a second, third, fourth book that I've had to read new because the first one was so tattered, and then I bought some to give away too. But this inspired me to do things. I tried, different gardening things through the years. I was inspired by other things to have, raised beds long before raised beds weren't even that popular or known. And so I did that. And then I've also wanted, partly inspired because of my, my grandparents. They had to do a lot of their own hunting and they grew up during the Depression. And I've seen them do these things, can and put things up for the winter. And it's just, I love it. It just fits me really, really well. But I've tinkered with learning a little bit through the years, but not fully could I survive a year by doing it. So, I've learned a little bit along the way. But this tells you can do it. People used to live like this. Yes, and I've seen it with my own family, but we weren't at that point when I was, growing up where we had to do it. They just did a lot of it, but not solely, self-sufficient. But this tells you how. It may not be perfect, but, I think it's a great resource, and I highly recommend it. Now, something that is more in our day and time is not too long ago, Barbara Kingsolver. You may recognize her name. She's a great author. I would read anything that she writes. She's great. But this one was, Walden was an experiment for Henry David Thoreau. This is what's interesting, is he wanted to just see if he, took it down to the bare necessities, what you really had to have to live to survive. So he did an experiment, and that's what and he published his research, like he documented it, right? And it was interesting for us to be able to see that he lived outside the norm and how he did it. And then Barbara Kingsolver, in our day and time, her and her family did pretty much just that. But she took it to where they could trade locally too. And I think they all got to choose one thing that we couldn't get locally. So I loved her approach. I love what they did. Highly inspired by this book. Bought lots of chickens after this. I wanted all the turkey, wanted everything. There is a lot of other people that have inspired me on YouTube channels, like James Prigioni. He does the gardening channel, and I'll put these links below. But he's been doing this for years, showing you how he turned his area into a food forest. So I love permaculture and food forest. My dad and his brothers were farmers, and so they were big farmers, and they were monoculture. I mean, I can remember field upon field of wheat. I learned how to drive a tractor at an early age and skin a fish. We grew up around horses and mules, so I'm a country girl for sure. There's no part of me that would ever want to live in the city or any urban. Like, I don't want neighbors. I have one, and it's my cousin, so that's okay. The country life fits me very, very well. And the older I get, the more secluded I want to be. Even though I've wanted to live in a little log cabin in the middle of the woods most of my adult lifehood, I don't live in a log cabin in the woods, but I live in a little house on the prairie. So to do a food forest, Jeff Lawton was one of the first YouTube videos that I watched on for permaculture, and I've watched a lot of different people since then. But Jeff Lawton, James Prigioni, and then there's Cullen. She has a YouTube channel called Beltane Cottage, and she is one woman that wanted to see if she could do it on her own, and she changed 3 acres. I think she lives somewhere in England. And she just planted trees for, she has a video on there that shows the beginning and then after 13 years. And she's inspired me for years now. I don't know how to get I have 7.5 acres here, and it's pretty much flat field, dotted with trees. And I have planted a few fruit trees on and off through the years. And I planted a handful last year, but I want to plant a lot more. And I want to create a food forest. I also want to, grow my own food and put it up for the winter. I want to experiment and see if I can do that. And not only that, but also learn how to make things with my hands. I want to learn ancient skills the way people used to learn how, used to know how to do things. Forage for food and medicinal food, and I've learned how to knit in the last 7 years, and to spin, and I'm learning how to weave, and I just want to continue with all these things. Learning more hands-on things, learning how to grow and put up my food, learning all kinds of things. Another book that I have had to rebuy, it's on the way, will be here tomorrow, is One Straw Revolution. And this is an old book by, I think he was Japanese, but he may be the grandfather of permaculture. I'm not sure, or probably wrong on that. Don't take my word for that. But to me, in my mind, he works with nature, and he might have things growing out at the tree line of a forest, and there's some squash or melons or something. And, this was written a long time ago. And even though everything that he does might not suit in my zone 7 in the US. It's just, there's a lot of practical things, advice and inspiration you can get out of that book. I'll share it maybe when it comes in next time. And then totally different, I have a love for books and yarn, which you will find out later. Another book that inspired me many years ago was How to Be Your Own Power Company. All right. And this may not be practical for now. There may be a lot better ways of doing things, I'm sure. But I had seen this book in the library when I was supposed to be studying, but I wasn't. And anyway, it inspired me to be like, there's other ways to live instead of in this rat race, right? Where we can make our own power and we can grow our own food. And so, I've tinkered with having a milk cow and gardening and stuff, but I've yet to have my own power. And I know a lot of people get into the solar and wind or water generation, so that's really cool. Now, with all the permaculture and stuff, why not also make it beautiful gardens at the same time? Like, not just food and practicality. Let's have some beauty going on as well. I mean, let's create a beautiful life, right? As long as we're making this life and making it real and making it my own, well, that's part of it. Okay, so there are so many books that I find I want to read and that I have read that I haven't shared today. But it's not going to be a booktube channel, but I will be sharing some of the books that I love. Like I have potatoes. This is just one bag, but I have 32 pounds of potatoes that I've got to go out and get the ground ready for and plant. And I planted a bunch of flowers and cleaned up my flower bed, one of them partially yesterday. So I'm on the right track, I think. I teach 4th and 5th grade science, and I am really tired when I come home. All I want to do is sleep. When I wake up, I want to knit. And now with the spring coming, I'm itching to get outside and play in the dirt. But it's going to take a lot to try to figure out how to grow my own food for a year. I may not go back to teaching next year so I can do this experiment. Another reason why is that I feel like it's time, is some things that's happened in my life this last year. My mother committed suicide last April, so that has taken a toll on me, and I have not properly felt like I've had the time to grieve because I've been teaching. I've been wanting to live this life for a long time, and it's time, and I need to take that time to try it. Life is short, right? Before that I leave you, there's one more book. I promise it's the last one for today. And it's by Robert Frost. It's a little Everyman's Library poem book. They're so beautiful. Okay, this one is The Road Not Taken. You ready? 2 roads diverged in the yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both. And be one traveler, long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth, then took the other as just as fair, and having perhaps a better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear. Though, as for that, the passing there had worn them really about the same. And both that morning equally lay, and leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I should be telling this with a sigh. Somewhere ages and ages hence, 2 roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. So I'm going to be making a life that is meaningful and real and fits me, and I invite you to do the same. If you have any suggestions on other books or other people in Oklahoma to connect to, that would be great, because I'm starting this to document my journey, and also to connect with you guys that may have things I have in common with, which would be a lot of fun to me. So I hope to see you next time. Thanks for joining me. Bye-bye.